it was really cool getting to know a lot of people. And my groups, I chose, of course, my first language is Spanish, but I chose English. And it was so cool. I was in 4 different groups. La Circoli Minori.
The small circle?
Small
I
groups.
love the way he
small.
looks over at Paul.
Because I know I shouldn't look
No,
at
I
you.
knew
Jeff.
it. No, it's because you don't want La Chicula Circle. I got it.
Hola, and welcome to the BeatiDudes. How's everybody doing? This is a podcast for Christian men seeking to grow in holiness as we walk together, trying to help each other grow on that path to holiness, or as Jeff likes to call it, holiness and humorness. It's the mashup of humor and holiness because we take the faith seriously, but not ourselves. My name is Paul Kolker, and I am joined, as always, by my bro host, Jeffrey Scheffelbein.
You know, most people think that name's German, but given who our guest is in our crossover into Latin America, do you know my last name is Scheffelbein?
Nailed it.
Yeah, so
I did not.
shuffle in German, and then bien is actually in Spanish, in Hispanic, and it means shuffle means crooked, so I'm crooked good. There you go. That's true.
Crooked real good.
Okay,
Taking it back to your era. And Nicholas Besner.
¿Qué pasó, todos?
Muy bien, bien hecho. And we are joined again. We had a fun time last time talking about all things podcasting, and now we're going to get to take a deep dive into his involvement in the church in Rome. Some crazy cool stuff. Let's give it up. Welcome back, Juan. Nope. Sorry. We said Juan Diego so many times.
You forgot to write my name there.
Juan Diego's understudy.
Yeah. Juan Diego. Sorry. So sorry.
Jose.
I know. I was so focused on
all the time.
No. We said Juan Diego so many times on the last show that was
even. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. José Manuel De Urquidi. Did I say that
Very
close? I'm working on it. Sorry.
It's not an Ordagi, it's an Orchidi.
It was a really bad English pun. Welcome back to the show, and please forgive our gringosity. We need to find out a little bit more. You do all these podcasts, and that's phenomenal stuff. You're talking about reaching people where they are. As I understand it, the Synod on synodality is about reaching people where they are. So talk to us about your involvement and all of that.
Okay, so the Synod started 2021, right? It's the 16th General, what's the name in English? General Ordinary Assembly of the Synod of Bishops. There have been extraordinary ones, but this is the 16th Ordinary Assembly. And 2022, people started realizing in the Vatican that the idea of the Pope wasn't really happening, which was like being out there, listening to what hurts, like the people, what are their wounds and stuff, you know? So that's when that was called the first phase, the diocesan phase, which a lot of people might say was like things were not still very clear in a lot of senses. It was just like, let's listen, right? To people, what hurts and what they long for, right? And that was it. So I was in DC in a Hispanic Leaders Conference, and Monsignor Lucio Ruiz, Secretary of the Dicastery of Communications, asked me to gather 5-6 Catholic influencers and to start listening in the internet, whatever that meant. I didn't understand. I didn't even understand, like, Synod of synodality. What the hell? Like, what is that? And well, you know, like the media and everything, you had like these very extremes about what it was. So I didn't understand what I was getting into. And well, listening became like that first phase. We, at the end, were around 250 Catholic influencers that had like, well, decent following or huge following on social media, and who were trying to ask questions and see where the people are at. One of my first questions was like, why do we need to do this, right? Like, why do we need to listen? And one of the things that I remember the most, Monsignor Lucio explaining, is like, whenever you go to the doctor, like the doctor doesn't just see you and tells you, you need to change this and do that and take these pills and start doing this and change your lifestyle and stuff.
Sure.
No, he has to listen and see what are your habits, what are your vices, what you're eating. He has to see what's up with you, and then he'll propose like something that'll do you good. And of course, you can follow or not, right? At the end, free will, that's on us, right? But that for me was very important to start understanding a bit about the Synod, what the Synod is. So that was the first phase, the listening phase. Then the second phase was the continental phase. And after the first phase, we submitted a synthesis along with a lot of dioceses all over the world. And apparently in the Vatican, they realized that we reached a lot of people that weren't going to church.
Yeah.
Like around 30% of those that we listened to weren't like going to church, which was a very big number. And we were invited by Cardinal Greg, who leads the secretary of the Synod of Bishops, to participate in the continental phase, which was a weird thing because every continent had its own assemblies, and following the conversation in the Spirit methodology, like praying a lot and talking and listening and seeing, talking about different things. That was what was happened, like North America, Selam, Latin America, Africa, Europe, Oceania, etc. No, and the digital continent, we had our own phase, and also we had envoys, so to speak, that went to the assemblies of the actual continents, right? Because we're not in you guys are listening to this wherever and watching or listening to us, but we're still here in person, right? So of course that was important. So for instance, I went to El Salvador for a week, February last year, and with people from all over Latin America, bishops mostly, and then conducted with Catholic influencers every day for 2 weeks sessions of the conversations in the Spirit. So we were talking about the document, the different things, and praying a lot about that, and then giving saying what we had in our hearts, and also responding to what we heard others say there, and at the end trying to discern what the Holy Spirit was telling us. No, so after that was February, right? May, I receive an email, a letter scanned and by email by the bishop from the bishops of Latin America, asking me if I wanted to be one of the 20 non-bishops to be nominated, like the short list, so the Pope could choose 10. So I was
Did y'all
asked.
get that letter?
I said I couldn't make it.
Yeah.
It went to my spam. No, that's incredible.
Keep
though.
going.
So,
Sorry.
yeah, you got
shortlisted. Yeah, but of course, it was very you have to respond. It was 3-5 days. You have to send half a page of a resume of sorts, a curriculum vitae, and of course, I had to say yes. And well, if you saw it like that, it was like a 50% chance. But still, I received the email. I saw that, and I called my wife, which wasn't very prudent, because it was clear that October was going to be like a whole month off, right? And we had lots of things going on and stuff. So
Lots of things going on and stuff.
I don't want to
3
get
kids?
into those details.
Yeah, three kids, right? That's a lot of stuff going on.
Et cetera.
That's what they're named.
What were you struggling with that month? No, sorry.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, thank God right now it's a different. She survived very well October, but well, I said yes, but knowing that we started somehow praying and talking and negotiating. I started with my wife, and sometimes I was like, yeah, I'm gonna tell them I'm out, and like a lot of times, like
Yeah.
I can't be there, like I can't do this, right? But well, at the end, I was coming. We were driving from South Padre Island to Monterrey. Receive a call from the July. The first day of July, and receive a call from the Secretary General of the Bishops of Latin America, Selam, and he told me that I was elected by the Pope, that I was going to be one of the 10 non-bishops from Latin America.
Wow.
Of course, most are priests and religious, and well, the fun started, right? Started, of course, a lot of preparation, reading the Instrumentum Laboris, which maybe you can spell it correctly, I think.
Yeah. So
Cool.
it's the working document.
Exactly.
So the instrumental or the working instrument.
I thought you were going to do your Latin.
No, you said it. You said it great. Instrumentum Laboris.
Could you spell it backwards for me?
S-I. I'm a little dyslexic, so I probably could.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so well, then was preparing for the Synod, which was a month in Rome without the family, because it was Monday till Saturday, working like the whole day, basically, and getting off 7:30, and then of course lots of stuff. So
Yeah,
so
like
that
12-hour days.
Plus events.
Plus, yeah.
yeah, plus events and stuff, and well, that was just how I got there, and I noticed I took a lot of time just to explain how I got there, right?
That's a big deal.
but
No,
but
that's
well,
incredible.
Basically, I was there.
I know you won't take any
And
credit,
that-
but priests are the rare there because it's bishops and cardinals. And then here's podcaster Jose. I do podcasts.
It was so
Hey.
weird, like that I was invited like to be there like 4 days before. Of course, I said I'm getting there the day it starts, because come on, I have family.
Yeah.
So I got there Saturday morning, and then we had the ecumenical vigil with Taizé on that evening or afternoon, and it was just like, okay, being there with everyone dressed up, like, yes, like I think I'm close to some bishops and cardinal stuff, but I've never seen so many together dressed up,
Yeah.
and with the Pope, and I'm like here, like just like this, like wearing like
Wearing your
my,
Detroit
my,
hat.
my yeah, just normal. So it was a bit overwhelming those
Yeah.
those
Yeah, that's
first days, but it was really cool because it started off with a retreat from Saturday night till Tuesday night, which was really, really cool. Like lots of prayer time, lots of getting to know everyone, because we were there like the same place, out of Rome, like an
Yeah.
hour and a half away from Rome. It was a really really great way, which was the first. I was surprised. It was the first synod that started with a retreat, basically before they just jumped into it.
This sounds like another time and place.
Yeah.
You know, this doesn't even sound like it's real with what you're describing, but it's probably pretty real for you and your family.
Yeah, it was, and then the whole, like, it's so weird now. A lot of people that I sort of knew about, some that I knew, or papaviles, etc. Some that I didn't even know. Like right now, like, yeah, what's up? The cardinal's whatever, the prefect of this dicastery,
They're hitting
it
you
was
up on text.
like breakfast, lunch,
Oh, yeah.
dinner, like a whole month, right? So it was very intense, like the sessions, the formal
Yeah.
sessions, but also a lot of like just like hanging out with people, getting to know them,
That's important.
and it was really cool. Like most of them, of course, not everyone, but most of them, like really interested, like trying to engage and like, of course, it was maybe weird for them, right? Like, who the hell are you, right? Like this guy with a cap and just their jeans and stuff, and being here.
I'm here representing all of the Americas.
So it was really cool getting to know a lot of people. And my groups, I chose, of course, my first language is Spanish, but I chose English, and it was so cool. I was in 4 different groups, La Circoli Minori,
The small circle?
small
I
groups.
love
Yeah,
the way he
small-
looks over at Paul.
Because I know I
Filming.
shouldn't look
No,
at
I
you.
knew
Jeff.
it. No, it's because you don't want La Chigula Circle. I got it.
So, but it was so great. Like,
Poquito.
imagine like the whole day, the like the methodology was a lot of prayer times in silence, and a lot of prayer time during the day. A lot of prayer times.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
And then everyone in the table like speaking, everyone else listening, and then we sort of like reacted to some of the different things that we thought the Holy Spirit was moving us. And since I chose English, now English is the lingua franca, right? So there were bishops from Africa, from Asia, from Europe, from Oceania, from of course the U.S., from the Middle East. So you had the persecuted church, you had a blooming church of vocations, you had like the church that was struggling or that is struggling a lot with keeping the churches open. So you had like the universality of the church, which was like, for me, that was one of the best things. Really having a sense of the universality of the church,
That's
like
incredible.
Catholicity of the church, right? So that was a really great thing for me, and I'm speaking a lot right now. So
No, but this thing continues, right? You're not done.
yeah. Well, one of the things that maybe, well, I don't want to. I was, of course, because of that background, very much talking whenever I could on the general congregations. Which was in front of the Pope, and whenever he was there, which was like half the time because small groups, and then when you spoke and you appeared on all the screens all over, in the tables and the big screens, no media. Whenever I spoke, I was trying to talk about being out there in the internet. People are not coming to church. What are we doing? For almost 20 centuries, the church has sent missionaries to mission frontiers. And yeah, scary. They might be killed. They didn't know the language. They didn't know, maybe it was a really cool pagan culture that they might become pagan or whatever, or they might be eaten or something. But they still went there. And they got there. They learned the language. They didn't know. They didn't just got there with their Bibles and like they saw how they were living, learned the language, saw the seeds of the verb, right, of truth that were in the culture, and then evangelize them, right? Like that's what we need to do in the internet right now. That's what you guys are doing, and a lot of people are doing. But but the church, like if we're called to be out there on mission, be iglesia en salida. I don't know how that translates, but the original.
Well, like the literal is like church in exit in the sense.
Yeah, but it doesn't translate.
No,
well.
but like but a going out.
It's the missionary apostle.
A church that's going out is
which is evangelicalium, right?
Yeah.
More 27, the paragraph 27, which I always get so excited when I read it because we need to be out there and really present Christ, the sacraments, people like to him, right? And we're not just gonna like someday. Well, of course, anything could happen, but someday people won't just realize, oh, church exists, we're gonna go back. No, where are they spending hours and hours of their waking hours?
Fortnite.
In the freaking or in their cell phones. So that's where we need to be.
Yeah.
I had a priest 3 years ago. I said, because I was just going through in my other business, my old energy business, like why you need to be in the metaverse, even though it's electricity in the real world. And I said, the Catholic Church needs to be in the metaverse, or somebody else is going to become the Catholic Church in the metaverse, and you're going to regret it. And he laughed at me, and I said, no, you should be given spiritual direction. He goes, we can't be given sacraments. We shouldn't be in there. And I was like, look, if people are there, and that's where they've escaped to, go get them.
And the thing is, it's not only they escape, like they're really looking for something.
For sure.
For love, for a sense of meaning, for truth, for God, maybe, without knowing.
Do you know that Jesus Revolution movie that Jonathan Rumi was in?
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it before, I'll just give you the one line that just crushed me. It was when he sits down with the pastor, and the pastor hates all the hippies. And as a hippie, he says, you know, all the drugs and all the festivals and all the community, do you know what we're all looking for? He's like, we're all looking for God, and people like you won't just let us in and teach us about it. So I do think everybody's seeking the same thing. It's just, are we trying to meet them there, or are we sitting behind the physical walls of a church?
And as a church, like church, like the institution, what are we doing with people that are trying to do that?
Yeah.
Are we doing the same thing that we've done for 20 centuries? Like forming them, sending them, accompanying them, and well, being with them and really, like, I don't know how many. That's why it was really cool. At the end, we ended up with a whole chapter 17 of the synthesis of that first session, and the recognition that it's the same mission of the church, but
always.
Now in the digital environment, and that
cool.
the church has always done this, but now we need to be there to bring them to Christ.
I wish everybody would hear you say that, because that starts to erase all the headlines and the shocking whatever. Like, it's the exact same mission in a digital world.
Yeah.
Or that recognizes the digital world as part of it, not only one or the other.
And that's how the chapter is called, chapter 17, the mission in the digital environments. And it has some really cool things. And at the end, there's a proposal L, that local churches hopefully will recognize, because there's already digital missionaries in lots of dioceses, recognize and then form them, send them, and accompany them.
Yeah.
And that means maybe, hopefully, well, we already have one, so now we're working with lots of bishops and conferences, and so they can hopefully send something to the Synod. And the second session, which is October this year, we're going to be hopefully talking about this, because if we're talking about being out there on a mission, the church getting Christ, getting his love, his mercy, his truth to people, that's where we need to be. This is a very tangible way of doing it, right? So lots of things that we need to be doing. And well, right now we're in halftime, but we're not just like resting. We're doing a lot of these things. So we are sending these best practices, experiences of the encounters of bishops with their digital missionaries, and walking towards a digital ministry in local churches, right?
Well, I think you've answered a lot of questions that probably people had surrounding just all of this, because it's taking place in another country, on another continent, right? So it's all of that. But I think one of the most pressing questions people had was, in the continental phase, how were the breakfasts?
That's a great point, because I went to one of those breakfasts, Paul, and I heard them talking about the Synod on synodality at that continental breakfast.
Right.
And what was fascinating to me was they were like, Jeff, do you have anything that's similar in your business? And I said, actually, yeah, ever since this was announced, we started doing meetings on meetingness.
There was the Donald Duck.
And we have Texas-shaped waffles.
And I didn't let's speak of it. I'm at the end of the second phase. I thought I got it, like why he chose that name, which is so weird, right? Synod on synodality. But then I got it more, and hopefully maybe every day I'll understand a bit more of what he meant by, or why he wants this. The thing is knowing how to synod, and that means being able to sit down, pray together, listen to each other, listen to the Holy Spirit, and then see what we're going to be doing as a church. That's why it's a lot of different themes. And of course, first of all, everyone that doesn't know, a synod, it's consultative, not deliberative. Code of Canon Law is very clear. Nothing can be changed, no doctrine, dogma, not even discipline, right? It's just a consultory body to the Pope. But at the end, what we're learning as a church is being able to sit with people who think differently, who come from different realities. It's not just like, sometimes it's very easy here in the US to think everyone is in these culture wars or whatever. Like the universal church prosecuted, you have like all these different struggles, and they come from different realities with different agendas. Yes, there's agendas because there's people, and some work with the poor, some work with different, like some are in formation of seminaries. The digital continent, so that was my, let's say, my big agenda. And of course, a lot of things are on the family, et cetera. But the thing is, learning to pray together despite our differences, and to be one, because that's what we're called to be, right? And sometimes we forget, and we love fighting, it seems, more than ever, and not being able to sit with someone that thinks that's a different, has a different set of views or whatever, and trying to find a way forward, right? As a church, as we've done for 20 centuries, and there has been really tough times in the church. It's not the first one.
No, if I've learned anything from the digital world, it's that you want to dunk on somebody and then block them. No listening. If you disagree, just dunk and block.
Yeah, it's dunk and then don't play defense.
That's it.
I actually have no idea where you were going.
Just like on Twitter and
Okay.
stuff. It's just when people get into arguments, it ends very badly, very quickly.
Does anybody ever do that? Like, don't get in block.
Well, no, they don't say that,
Okay.
but they try to find
That's
a way.
what he does.
Okay, yeah. I'm
Wait.
like, man, if you
Very
hashtag me on
synodal.
that-
Oh no, was this confession by projection? Or projection by confession? Anyway. Well, yes, but thank you so much for sharing so much of that story. And it's amazing to hear not only your personal experience, but how much you just know and understand and have assimilated all of these different aspects of not just doctrine, but like church practice and church culture in Rome, right? Like you're talking about all of these things about canon law and instrumentum laboris and all of these things that are so baked into the inner workings of the universal church, especially in the heart of the church. But you're bringing them to us and sharing that knowledge with us, so we appreciate it.
That was the best description I've had of what happened in Rome. And maybe it's because it wasn't something I was trying to read real fast. That was extremely helpful.
Yeah, that was eye-opening for sure.
Well, and people can get involved. Starting the year, Bishop Flores from Brownsville invited everyone. Every conference is doing different things, but every diocese can send a 2-page document of what they're trying to do to really be this church that's not on maintenance mode, but it's really on apostolic mission, really. And we need to share best practices, so to speak. We need to pray more together. We need to be doing this sort of stuff. So you can still be involved, and in the digital continent, a lot more. And if there's digital missionaries that are listening, you can as well. Lots of ways.
I think you just nailed me that my next book that I will read that's sitting on the bookshelf next to my bed, which is a nightstand. It's from maintenance to apostolic mission. Is that what it's called? Yeah.
Monsignor Shiaz.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So, I mean, it looks awesome. I'm going to read it.
It's awesome.
Cover.
On
It's like
your-
cover.
on your
Yeah.
6-foot bookshelf right next to your bed. It's awesome.
Turning off that light is so hard.
Gotta get way up there.
Okay, well, a couple things just to kind of close this out here. One is I think I have a new tradition because every time the wolf makes an appearance, it gets love. I don't know. It's awesome.
Lobo.
Yeah, Lobo.
A little lubba for the
But I
wolf.
also love that we just put this little figurine of St. Maximilian Kolbe, and I feel like you grabbed him and then you just went to another world and took us on a Synod ride. So Kolbe's going to be here for anybody who needs to grab a hold of him while they're talking. Jose, man, what a blessing. Juan Diego Network, Juan Diego Co. I hope that this leads to many, many fruits and that millions and millions of people, that the next Juan Diego and the next Guadalupe come at a time and a place where needed, so that we can continue to evangelize in this world that has shifted, but that the doctrine and the teachings have not. So
Exactly.
we will see you on the internets, and for the rest of you, we'll see you
In the Eucharist.
God
You've got
bless.
mail.
Dios los bendiga.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to join us at our undersized table, subscribe to the video version of the show on YouTube by typing @ that's the symbol @, so shift and 2 on your keyboard, @the_BeatiDudes on YouTube. We'll see you there.
This podcast is part of the Spoke Street Network. For more great podcasts, visit spokestreet.com.